Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome. My name is Christina and today we are doing another shop with me. I recently went into Sephora and Ulta and I went to see some things that I was a little bit more curious about, curious enough to want to see them in person, swatch them, and share my thoughts with you guys. Now, I typically have my shop with me videos structured a little bit differently. I will have all the B-roll and a voiceover, but today I thought we would do a little talk through as I'm doing my makeup because I did purchase some of the products and I will be demoing them with you and sharing all of my thoughts. So I'm just going to pull out my phone, look at all the videos that we took, and we will go from there. So first I want to talk about the Makeup Forever Super Boost Skin Tint Serum. This is brand new. Like I said, this was at the very front of Sephora. And honestly, when I first went in, I had no intention of really looking at this. I wasn't interested. I kind of felt like there was a lot of skin tints out and recently they haven't been impressing me too much. Now within the span of first going in to look at this skin tint and now I have decided that I'm gonna do a little compilation video, a little review of all of the skin tints that have recently been released. So in saying that, I did end up picking this up. I got the shade number 6. I felt like this was the closest match to me. I do think it is a little bit warm, but come summertime, I do think that this is going to become a perfect match for me. Now, to be honest, this packaging is very interesting. It almost has this little pump thingy that looks like an accordion, and it is nice that it's this soft packaging. I think it makes it really compact and easy to store, especially if you're traveling. I do like that it has this little dispenser thing. So like I said, I wasn't planning on picking this up, but I was really drawn to this because I had been seeing people talk about how even though they have oily skin, this was lasting all day. And for me, I was like, curious enough after hearing that. It does have this pretty creamy texture to it, but it's not heavy and thick. I thought at first when I felt how creamy it was going to be very similar to the It Cosmetics CC cream, but it's nowhere near the thickness of that when it comes to sitting on the skin. I'm just going to take my BK 115 brush to buff this in. This has a slight scent to it, I'm pretty sure. Is it my brush? It has a little bit of like this clean fragrance to it, but it's so subtle that I barely notice it. For me, this gives me a pretty good medium coverage, especially for a skin tint. I think it looks really nice. And while it does have those hydrating properties that you kind of expect from a skin tint, it's not overly hydrating, and I guess it's not greasy at all, which I think really helps with the longevity on the skin. I have worn this probably twice now, and both times I think that it wore very nicely on the skin. So as you can see here, this is one layer of the skin tint. We are looking nice and hydrated, but not at all greasy, which I really appreciate about this. I feel like overall it has evened out my skin tone. That's the biggest thing that I notice with this skin tint, and I feel like the pigmentation does spread a long way, which I really appreciate. Now you can still see a lot of like my acne scarring here and my hyperpigmentation, but it's nowhere near as apparent. And I think that the level of pigmentation and the level of hydration that we're getting from the skin tint is a very even amount. Like, I think that this is such an easy go-to skin tint, which I think is what skin tints are made to be. They're made to be, for me, just something that I can slap on and not think too hard about, not have to worry about what I put on top of it, if it's going to work with it. I almost view skin tints these days, at least the ones that have been releasing, as something that's going to even out my skin tone, wear all day, but it's not going to be something that I have to fuss with at all. So I'm actually really glad that I purchased this one. At $36 though, I felt like it was kind of expensive. It does look like you get a little bit of product in this, but this is actually 1 fluid ounce here. So far as a first couple time impression type of thing, this has been a really good one, and I'm very glad that I picked this one up. All right, next, I did see the Summer Fridays Birthday Cake Lip Balm. Now this one is a re-release for them. They did release this a while back as a limited edition lip balm, and this is basically a sheer pink that has a bit of sparkle in it. I believe that it's like a silver sparkle, and it does say that it's limited edition again, at least from what I saw at the store. I thought that maybe this was going to be permanent, or I had heard that it was permanent. I'm not quite sure. I didn't think I needed it. It smelled really good though. It smelled exactly like what you would expect a birthday cake to smell like. And I think if you're already a big fan of the Summer Fridays lip balms and you tend to collect them, I don't think that you would be disappointed in this. By the way, everything I'm using in this video, I'll link it down below, as well as link it in the YouTube shopping tab for you. Oh, also, I did go into the store and I wanted to swatch the Anastasia Beverly Hills Impeccable foundation for you. I've talked about how I received it in PR, but the shades that I got were very, very dark and warm. So I swatched 3N and 2.5 next to each other in store, and 2.5 was actually a way better match for me, which is odd because I'm never typically that light within a shade range for foundation. So that kind of does confirm that this shade range does tend to run very, very dark and very warm as well. So this is one that I would not recommend that you blind buy or you buy online. I think that you have to go in store and see for yourself what your shade's going to be, especially because the coverage on this does tend to be very full. And when it comes to full coverage foundations, the closer you can get to your perfect shade, the better, because you don't get that wiggle room like you do with a lighter coverage or medium coverage foundation, where you can kind of work with it with concealers and bronzers and stuff. It's just a little bit more obvious with a full coverage foundation. Now, this isn't something that I purchased at Sephora or Ulta, but this is the Odin's Eye Love Language palette from Morgan Turner Makeup. She did a collaboration with them for Valentine's Day, and I wanted to try it out today with you guys. I finally got it in the mail, so I'm going to use this while we're talking through the other things that I saw at Sephora and Ulta. Just to show you guys, this is the palette. How beautiful, stunning, gorgeous is this? I'm very, very tempted to play around with the colorful looks, but I don't want to go too crazy because I do have other things to swatch for you guys that are leaning more towards the neutral side. So we are going to stick to the neutrals for now. Hopefully I post more videos where I get to play with the purples because I really want to play with them. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the eyeshadow releases that I saw. So first, the Ilia Eye Stylus. I am so tempted by these. So tempted, in fact, that the 3 times maybe that I went to Sephora to get all of this B-roll, I have looked at them, I have swatched them, I have been so incredibly tempted by them. I love an eyeshadow stick. I love how easy they are. I love how most of the time you can use them as a one and done eyeshadow. My problem is I cannot figure out which shade I want because I think that I only need one of them. I have so many eyeshadow sticks and eyeshadow palettes and things. I can't justify getting more than one. At first I thought Adorn would be the way to go. I always think these tones are the way to go when I'm looking at one and dones, but there's always something about these types of tones, these more taupey shades, where swatched on my arm or something, they look incredible. I'm always drawn to them. However, when I actually get them on my eyes, they do tend to pull a little bit too gray and cool, and I just overall look very washed out. Even though I'm not instinctively drawn to shades such as Gilded and Jubilee, I think those are actually going to be the ones that look the best on me, or the shade Brocade. I'm too indecisive at this point, and I haven't wanted to bite the bullet and purchase it and then have to return it if I don't like it, you know? I think I will go with Gilded though, if any of them. It does kind of scare me. It looks very, very warm and gold, but a lot of my absolute favorite one and done shadows, like Charlotte Tilbury Amber Gold, is very gold swatched, but it looks incredible. I recently got this RMS Flare liquid shadow and it looks incredible. I thought that the swatches online looked way too warm and gold, but it truly is so nice on my skin tone. It just warms up my whole entire face without being too much, and I think that's what I need, but I just don't know. So I didn't want to pick it up and regret it, basically. But I have only heard amazing things about this formulation, so I do think I'm going to be picking one up. I just don't know which one yet. So when I was actually at Ulta, I did check out the new Lancome liquid eyeshadow shades. They've had these liquid eyeshadows for quite a while, but they have recently extended the shade range. And there were two shades in particular that I was very interested in. One of them was number 8 Chocolate Macchiato, or sorry, I think it's number 8 Cocoa Macchiato. And then the other one was number 6 in Canyon Clay. Now Canyon Clay is a matte formulation, and it's a little bit of a not washed out, but like more subtle red shade. It's muted red, if you will. And then Cocoa Macchiato is exactly what you think. It's going to be a rich dark brown, but this one actually is a shimmer shade. And I thought that they swatched really, really well. Canyon Clay, I think, would actually be right up my alley when it comes to a one and done matte shadow that kind of deepens up the eyelid, but it's not too much. Like, it's not a pop of color or anything. The straight up swatch of this does look like it would be very pigmented and a little bit more of a bold color, but I think that with using a very small amount of this and buffing it into the eyes, it would look more like a muted brown tone that runs a little bit warm. So I think that that would look really, really beautiful. I did not pick it up though, just because I feel like at that price point it is still a little bit pricey for me to be a little unsure, you know what I mean? But Cocoa Macchiato, that one, beautiful. I think it's gorgeous, but it's definitely not going to be an everyday type of shade for me. I think this one would be absolutely perfection if you want to go for more of a smoky look. I think it would be the perfect shade to build on top of for more of that smoky eye. And then it has that built-in shimmer, and I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that the shimmer in it was not too aggressive. It was a little bit more toned down, which I think would make this more wearable and not just like a smoky eye type of thing. You could definitely use this as like an eyeliner by itself, and then you could have a little bit of that shimmer come through for that extra little something, you know? But again, I wasn't super impressed to the point where I wanted to buy these full price. Maybe if I ever find them on sale or something, I would pick them up. But I do own one of these Lancome liquid eyeshadows, and I actually like how thin they feel, but they still blend in pretty well for a liquid shadow. They're not too hard to work with, which I really appreciate about them. All right, how beautiful is this super simple eye? I love it. I love it so much. So while I set the face, I actually want to talk about a couple of fragrances that I saw in store. So one of them being the Moroccan oil perfume. I talked about this in my Curbing Makeup Cravings video recently, and I was telling you guys how much I absolutely love the original scent of the Moroccan oil treatment. They tend to use this in a couple of their hair care products, like their hairspray smells like it, their dry shampoo smells like it. I think that some of their shampoos and conditioners also smell like it. It is the warmest, yummiest, slightly musky scent, but it also smells extremely tropical to me. It's just one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled in my life, and I can confirm, you guys, that the actual perfume version of it does smell exactly like the oil treatment, which I was really excited about. They do have this scent in a body wash as well as a hair mist, and I've smelled those in the past because I was really excited about them, but there's something about the hair mist that is slightly off. I think it's a little bit more alcohol scented in my opinion. And then the body butter, for some reason, when it warmed up on my skin, it almost smelled a little bit off, and I just wasn't really a big fan. But the perfume, I can say, I sprayed a little bit on my wrist and it stayed smelling exactly like the oil treatment, and I was so pleasantly surprised. But the reason why I didn't pick it up is because I kind of feel like I want to wait for a sale. I do think that a travel size, if anything, is going to be the one that I pick up, because I do feel like I have a lot of fragrances to kind of like run through. And for this one, it almost smells like something that I would get the most use out of in the summertime. So I don't necessarily think that I need it right now, but I do love it. I do think that it smells perfect, like exactly like the treatment oil. If that's what you're looking for, they nailed it with this perfume. And then I also talked about in that Curbing Makeup Cravings video the Saltair collection, how they recently launched in Ulta. And I went back and I was smelling the body butter, and I truly think that that is going to be my next body butter purchase. The saltwater vanilla just smells so heavenly. And again, it kind of smells like something that I would get the most use out of in the summertime. But I'm also thinking, if I get the body butter, is it going to feel too thick for me in the summertime? You know, I do live in Florida. It does get extremely humid in the summer, so I tend to go for lighter weight lotions and stuff. So I don't know, I'm still kind of on the fence about that one, but I do think that the deodorant is going to be for sure my next purchase when it comes to Saltair. I am very excited to see that they are at Ulta though, because it just makes it a lot more accessible, and I've only heard good things about their entire line. So I'm very excited to kind of explore more of their products. Also, while I was at Ulta, I did smell the new Billie Eilish Your Turn perfume. This one is so nice. I almost want to say that this is going to be a warmer scent. I actually think that this one is such a nice gender neutral scent. So it says it opens with bergamot, cardamom, and fresh ginger, softening into peach skin and jasmine, and then grounding with sandalwood, musk, and sustainable sylvamber for warmth that lingers. It's definitely more of that warm scent, and it lays down and dries down very, very warm. I did find though with this fragrance that I really liked the way it smelled straight out of the bottle once I sprayed it onto my skin. But after maybe half an hour to an hour, I feel like it was just all warmth and I wasn't smelling any of that brightness from the jasmine or anything lighter. It just smelled a little bit more on the spicy warm side on me. So I think that was kind of the turning point. I thought that it smelled really, really good, and I still do think it smells really good. But again, I don't think that it's something that I can see myself wearing often. I did see the Touchland body mists at Ulta, but there were no testers. But luckily when I went to Sephora like a couple days later, I did actually see the body mists, but not all of them had testers. The only one that I was really interested in smelling was the mango one and the vanilla one. The mango does smell like a nice, almost candy type of mango, but with a little hint of freshness. I thought it smelled good, but at the same time, I think I've told you guys this before, when it comes to fruity scents on me, they just tend to turn a little bit sour. Like they don't really complement my natural body chemistry, I guess. So it smelled good straight out of the bottle, like sprayed. I thought it smelled lovely, but I just know that that's not one for me. And then the vanilla one, it wasn't anything special to me, you know. It definitely smells like vanilla, a little bit more on the candy side of things, but yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't gonna be the vanilla that I run to, you know. Some of my favorite vanillas right now are going to be the Fleur Vanilla Skin, and I really like the Being Frenchy Cashmere Vanilla. I think that one is beautiful, and I'm loving the Lake and Sky 1111 Vanilla. Those have been kind of like my go-tos and kind of standard for a vanilla right now. I do really think that the packaging on these are so extremely cute. They just look like oversized versions of the hand sanitizer, and I already think that's really cute. So I think this would be a nice one to just chuck in your bag during the summertime, or if you're on vacation or something like that. An easy wear. I didn't really smell too many of them, like I said, because there weren't a lot of testers available. Oh, another thing, the Kosas Cloud Set loose powders. So I did see these in Sephora. They had all of the shades, and I actually think that the translucent butter, the ultra sheer yellow, would be a good shade match. Sometimes when it comes to yellow powders, they can be a little bit too warm for my skin tone to where you can actually see the yellowness, and it makes me look a little bit sickly, you know what I mean? But this one, when I swatched it, was a very nice sheer wash of yellow. So I really, really liked that. I think that the pink powder would be nice too. I've been very curious about pink powders recently, but I just can't commit just yet. I don't know what it is. I have a feeling that I would really like these loose powders, but I do have a lot of loose powders that I want to go through currently, so I did not pick that one up. I did, however, pick up the About Face loose powder. I'm testing this one out. This is actually what I just put on, and so far it looks really nice. The reason I didn't pick up the Kosas one is because I recently restocked on my pressed cloud set powder. So in my head, I feel like they're the same thing. One is just pressed, one is not. And I want to keep myself from buying that one too. But something I will know is that these Kosas powders are huge. They are so massive. So this powder is 10 grams. I think that is pretty standard, but the Kosas one is 20 grams. So it's double. They are so big. I think that for the price of it versus what other loose powders are on the market, this is actually a very, very good price. It does seem like from the pictures that it's just a regular size powder, but I'm telling you guys, this thing, when I saw it in person, I was like, dude, these are huge. A couple of other things that I sniffed while I was at the store. So the Rare Beauty Comfort line, the peach scent. I had not seen this in stores until very, very recently. I think that this is kind of an older new launch, you know? But yeah, this was the first time that I saw them in store and I wanted to smell them. And I actually think that the scent of this is a very nice fresh peach. You know, sometimes peach can kind of turn a little bit where it smells almost sour. This one smelled nice and light. I think it's actually going to be such a nice spring scent for a lot of people. And honestly, I think that I enjoy the peach scent more than the original Find Comfort scent. That one I think is a little bit heavy for my personal taste, but the peach in a body butter I think works. You know how some scents smell better as a lotion, a body butter, a mist, a perfume? I think this one was perfect as like the hair and body mist and the body butter for how lightweight it smelled. This bronzer is so good. This is my first time using it. It's the LYS bronzer in the shade Harmony. I have the bronzer stick and they sent me the bronzer powder and I'm really liking the shade of it. So here's something that I really thought that I would love, and I actually was intending to pick it up if I saw it. The new Necessaire Olibanum deodorant. So they came out with like a cream deodorant type of thing, not a cream, but like a solid stick versus their roll-on gel. And they had the eucalyptus and the olibanum, which is basically like a vanilla scent. And I love that scent in the lotion. I bought the lotion and I love, love, love it in the body wash. I think it smells absolutely incredible. So naturally I thought I was going to love the deodorant, but the deodorant smelled so off to me. It was stinky. It's not that it was not good, it was stinky. And I am very, very picky about my deodorant scents. Like if you go too citrusy, it smells sour if you start smelling, you know? And then if it's too floral, it's like almost sickly. This olibanum was too stinky. I don't know how else to describe it. It just really threw me off and I was thinking maybe it's the tester, but I smelled the eucalyptus one too because I also love the eucalyptus in the body wash and that also smelled a little stinky. There was something a little bit off about both of them and I can't imagine that they were old testers because again, this is a new product. Maybe they had been out and opened and subjected to oxygen a lot since they had come out, but that's a little hard for me to believe. I don't have enough faith in it to take that chance. So unfortunately, this one was a very big miss for me, and I really, really was convinced that I was going in there to purchase this. So yeah, passing on that one for sure. So Snif Me, I finally found a tester. When this first came out, my Ultas around me, they all had the actual box of the Me fragrance, but none of them had testers until quite recently, and I was extremely excited about this one. If you are a fan of Glossier You, I definitely think that you would like Snif Me. This one smells very similar in the sense that it's going to be a skin scent and it warms up really, really nicely on the skin. It definitely has a little bit more warmth to it, but it's still not, in my opinion, a warm woodsy scent. It's still more of a skin scent. I would say this is a stronger version of Juliette Has a Gun and a little bit sweeter than that, you know? When I first smelled it, I immediately thought this smelled almost identical to Glossier You Do. This is the new one in the white bottle. So when I got home, I did spray it on my opposite arm and I smelled Snif Me, and then Glossier You Do. And Glossier You Do is definitely brighter. It's slightly more floral, and I wouldn't say that they smell identical, but out of the entire Glossier You line, I think it smells the most close to Dew. And I really like that one. I think it's a very fresh, bright scent, but again, Snif Me is going to be the warmer version of that almost. If you're curious, this one does have plum, peach skin, and white moss, and then it has orris, sandalwood, and musk. So those orris, sandalwood, and musk notes I think really ground it out to where it's not too bright of a scent. I think if you are currently in the market for a new skin scent, then this one is definitely one you should check out. And the sniff fragrance lasts forever on my skin. It lasts such a long time. So the last fragrance that I went into the store to sniff was the Juliette Has a Gun Miami Shake perfume, and this one I was really excited about because the notes on this reminded me of Kayali Yum Bougie and Yum Marshmallow Bougie, is that what it's called? Whatever the new like pink marshmallow fragrance is from Kayali, I thought this was going to be very similar, and I love that one. Surprisingly, I'm not a gourmand type of girl, but I think I'm kind of turning into one. I don't know, because that one, incredible. It smells like fresh but candy, like light candy strawberry. It's so good. So this one has notes of wild strawberry, ice cream cone, and vanilla absolute. And it does smell really nice and gourmand. You can definitely smell the strawberry in it. You can definitely smell a little bit of creaminess to it. When I sprayed it, it smelled really nice and light, very much a gourmand like strawberry. But I think the strawberry in this isn't as tart as the Yum Bougie one. It says that this is in a warm and spicy fragrance family. I wouldn't necessarily say that I got any spiciness from it, but I do think that it also leaned a little bit powdery. So it was like a strawberry candy powdery scent. I don't know if I necessarily smell any waffle cone in there, but I wasn't a huge fan. But I will say that this scent actually lasted on my arm all day. Like, I want to say I was still smelling it 10 hours later, which is very surprising to me because the original Juliette Has a Gun, it kind of disappears from my nose whenever I'm going about my day. But this one, I was getting whiffs of it all day. So if you want a long-lasting perfume that is in this category, this would be a really good one for you. Okay, moving on now to some really exciting blush releases. So I did talk about the Juvias Place cream blushes in my Curbing Makeup Cravings video, and I used it in that video, but I did want to insert a swatch of all of them, like all of the shades here that I had in my store. So these are all the shades that they offer within this line. I think they're all evenly pigmented. I think they are all pretty true to color in terms of what they have swatched online. I have really been liking this formulation. I will say that a little bit does go a long way, so go in with a light hand at first and then kind of build up from there. I don't find that these are greasy, and they actually set down really nicely to the point where I can go in with a little bit more after I powder, because I do find that they become very subtle after you powder down. So either you can go in with a little bit more before you powder, or you can sandwich your powder with the cream blush. Now talking about the Saie blushes, so I was very excited to see the blushes in store. I did pick up the one that I was curious about. This is Saie Chow, and this is going to be like that dusty brown pink shade that I love in all of my blushes. They were missing one tester. It was the shade Amore. I don't think they had that shade, which is why they didn't have a tester for it. But I swatched these and they all looked super lovely. They do have more of that baked finish to them where they look a little bit more light and airbrushed versus something that's going to be matte, which I personally do tend to prefer when it comes to blushes. So I'm going to put this one on. I have already worn this one time, and it's everything that I wanted it to be. It's kind of like this burnt rosy copper shade. How beautiful is that? The other shade that I had swatched that I thought looked really, really lovely was the shade Grazie. I think Grazie would be such a beautiful rosy tone on the cheeks, but you can see here that Chow, with it swatched on my arm versus on my cheeks, I think that this does turn a little bit more on the rosy side anyways. So I don't know necessarily if I need Grazie, maybe, I don't know. But I can say for certain that I think that the formula of this is a beautiful baked blush. Is it anything revolutionary, like anything we've never seen before? I don't necessarily think so, but I do think that this launch from Saie makes a lot of sense within their line. I think that a baked blush makes a lot of sense for the aesthetic that they kind of go for with their makeup, you know? So Huda Beauty actually came out with more shades, a shade extension of their blush filter liquid blushes. They came out with 4 new shades, and I did swatch all 4 of the shades, and they are so fun and lovely. I can't say that all of them would be ones that I would go for. I do think that the lychee one is very beautiful, and it looks like a fun summer shade. I used to wear peach blushes like these all the time. They were kind of my default go-to type of shades, but I've gone more nudie beige and a little bit more rosy in tone when it comes to my blushes. So I do like this. I think that that one out of all of the new shades would definitely be my go-to. And I did actually swatch it right next to Peach Sorbet because I figured people would have questions on how similar Sunset Lychee and Peach Sorbet would be to each other. So this is just a little comparison. I do think that Lychee Sunset is a little bit more on the subtle side, where Peach Sorbet next to it almost looks a little bit neon, you know? Something I did not expect to see at my store was the new YSL blushes. So these are blurring powder blushes. They're $45, you guys, which is not surprising for YSL, but just in general, objectively, gosh, that is expensive for a blush. But I will say that when I touched these, they felt buttery soft and smooth and silky and everything that you want in a blush. Even though these do tend to be more on the matte side of things, I felt like they still looked incredibly buttery on the skin. I thought they looked so yummy. I swatched 3 shades here, and all 3 of them swatched like a dream. They were so nice. I will say that the darker purple shade was a little bit patchy upon first swatch, but it's so different when you swatch something with your finger versus when you swatch something on the skin with a brush. I definitely think it's going to be a lot more buttery and smooth and less patchy than it was in the swatch. And the swatch isn't even necessarily patchy in my opinion. So the shades I had here are 37, 54, and 83, and 37 is right up my alley. This very much reminds me of House Lab's Fire Moon blush. I want to get this on my cheeks, but for that price, I'm not going to. I can't justify it right now, but I want it. I do. I think it's so beautiful. And then all over the cheeks, like on the cheeks across the nose as like a sunburnt look, I think it would make my complexion just look so tan and yummy. And ooh, I'm really considering it, but let me not do that. Moving along now to our last category that I went in and kind of explored. So the Laneige lip serums. I did think that maybe I would be leaving with one of these because I just enjoy this formulation so much. I have the shade Sugar Glaze, and I think that these are so high shine. They feel nice and like thick, but also actually hydrating on the lips. And I swatched all of the 4 shades and I wasn't super impressed. I honestly think that the shade Cinnamon Sugar was a little too mauve for what I want. Peach Glaze was a little too bright, and Chocolate Frosting was actually the next one that I did enjoy. But I'm kind of having this realization that maybe these brown tones, like darker brown tones, do not look that great on me. I kind of feel like sometimes they can wash me out. I think it's a beautiful shade, but it's not going to be like a lip balm or lip serum that I can just throw on without even thinking about. Like I can put a ton of it on. I think I'm just gonna stick with Sugar Glaze. I did see 2 out of 3 of the new Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Stick shimmers. I saw the shade Icy Amethyst and Fenty Glow, and these are really nice. They do have very beautiful tones to them, but I do think that these are a little too metallic for what I typically would go for. I think it would be really fun if you're into really shimmery lip products right now, because they are for sure very, very shimmery and beautiful, but they still have a lot of pigmentation to them, which I think is nice. It's not just a little bit of a wash of color. I do think if you were to swipe these on your lips, you would get really nice pigmentation as well as a very, very shimmery finish. Okay, I keep going back to the Topicals lip balm. I wanted the original lip balm when it first came out, but I passed on it because I have a lot of lip balms. But they recently came out with an acai version, which is this really beautiful plummy shade, like reddish plum shade, and it just looks gorgeous. But again, kind of similar to the chocolate frosting Laneige lip balm, I feel like this one would take a little bit more thought. It's not going to be a lip balm that I can just throw onto the lips and leave it. This does seem like it has a little bit of separation when it comes to the color, so I feel like I would have to apply it on the lips and kind of like blend it in a little. I do want it because I hear that this formula is incredible, and so far everything I've tried from Topicals I've really, really enjoyed. So I do think that I will eventually purchase this one, maybe during the Sephora sale that is coming up, which by the way, they did announce the sale dates, so start building your cart, maybe hold off on buying things, maybe reference back to this video when the sale comes around. Something I did get this time though that I really, really enjoy. So Makeup Forever came out with the Super Boost lip gloss alongside the skin tints, and I purchased the shade Anywhere Caffeine. I did swatch 3 of the shades that I was interested: Wherever Walnut, Anywhere Caffeine, and Limitless Brown. I love the lip pencil in Wherever Walnut. I think that it looks absolutely gorgeous, but Anywhere Caffeine just looked like something that I could wear all the time. And so far since I've had this, I have worn this so many times. I did a reel showing you guys just how shiny and beautiful this is. Let me put it on for you real quick. Look at that shine. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. It is going to be on the thicker side of a lip gloss. It has a tiny little bit of stickiness, but it's so minimal. It almost feels like it's just a thicker lip product, you know? It's not uncomfortable. It does have a minty feel to it. I think it's supposed to have that like plumping feeling to it. And if you overdo it like I just did, a little goopy. Okay, I took a little bit off. This is the amount that I normally wear when I wear this lip gloss, and you can see not goopy whenever I do the right amount, but I love this. I think it looks so, so good. And paired with Anywhere Caffeine, it is a perfect match. I think it's such a nice lip gloss. This has been an easy one for me to throw into my purse. Out of all of the lip products that have come out recently, this one for sure was the one that piqued my interest the most. And I really, really like it. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. It's so good. It's definitely a lip gloss though, so if you're not a big lip gloss person, you may not like this, but so far I am loving this. Okay, at Ulta, now I think that this one is a very, very new launch, so I couldn't find any other swatch videos to kind of look at before I purchased it, so I figured I would get a couple shades so we can both experience them together. But NYX actually just expanded their Fat Oil Slick Clicks. So they originally had 12 shades and now they have 20, and I have 4 of the new shades that they came out with. The only ones that I didn't pick up were the clear one and 2 of the shimmery ones. I already knew from the first like batch of these products that I didn't really like the shimmer in them, so I didn't even bother getting those, but I do have all of the creamy ones. And when I first talked about these, and whenever I talk about these, I'm always like, I hope that they come out with more wearable shades. When I say wearable, I mean like more pinky browns and more nudes, and they did, and I'm so excited. So we are going to try these together. So I guess I should just do it in order. Verified number 16 was the one that I was the most excited for. These are so loud. I don't know if that bothers anyone, but they are quite loud. But let's try Verified on the lips. I was really excited to see these. And something that I like about these Slick Clicks is they don't have any extra plumping to them. So if you don't like that, you don't have to worry about that with these. They have that same slightly fruity scent. This is what I wanted this to be. So this is very close to my natural lip shade, or at least what my lip shade was before I started losing pigmentation, because you know, as you age, you do lose pigmentation in your lips. This looks like a My Lips But Better shade. I love that it's a creamy finish. I like that it does not have any shimmer to it. It's beautiful. Yes. This is what I wanted. This is so good. I'm already a big fan of the Slick Clicks. I like that they're not too melty. I like that they don't ever really get goopy on the lips. And I like the amount of pigmentation that these deposit onto the lips. I think you can wear them alone or you can wear it with a lip liner. It's very much customizable and it's an easy lip product. I think they really knocked it out of the park with this formulation. And on top of these new shades, oh, I'm so excited. I don't think it has any plumping feeling to it. I don't know if I'm having lingering minty effect from the Makeup Forever, but I'm pretty sure these don't have any plumping from what I remember with my original ones. All right, next we have the shade number 18 Profile Pick. This is more of a pink tone than Verified. Ooh, I did have a little bit of it come off right there. That doesn't typically happen though. I think I'm just being a little aggressive. Okay, here is Profile Pick. It definitely pulls quite pink on me, but it's actually deep enough of a pink to where I'm not totally turned off by this. I still think that this looks good by itself, but I would probably wear this with a lip liner to tone it down and make it look a little bit more neutral on me. But this is nice. I would consider this a pinky mauve on my skin tone. I like it. Okay, now we're gonna do number 19, Caption This. So this looks like a deeper pink. This one's actually really nice. It's a little bit deeper than my usual everyday lip color, but I feel like this would be a beautiful everyday lip color, right? Like it looks like something I can just throw on and it brings a little bit of depth to the skin. It doesn't like wash me out or anything. It's a little bit more on the deep rosy side of things for me. All right, and last of the ones that I picked up is number 20 in the drafts. This one is described as a cocoa berry, but from the pictures, it just looks like a berry tone to me. However, if this is meant to be a nude shade, which they have it described as such, I think that this is more geared towards someone with a deeper complexion than I have. Oh, it is more of a brown tone. Then I don't think the marketing pictures are that accurate, because look, this is definitely a brown. That's very nice. I was scared that this was going to be too berry toned and a little bit too cool on me, but I think that this still looks very, very beautiful and actually quite wearable. I was just talking about how I think deeper brown tones are a little bit harder for me to work with, but this is actually so nice and I like that it's buildable, like this formula in general, so I could see myself wearing this one. I'm very excited about that. Overall, I'm very happy with these. I am so happy that they came out with more nude shades. Every single one of these I think looks incredible. I'm so excited. Highly recommend this formula if you're looking for an inexpensive, very comfortable glossy balm on the lips. These I think are just like foolproof for me. And lastly, something I don't have footage of, but I did pick up after I went to Sephora because I saw that this had released. This is the Clarins Hydrating Water Lip Stain Kiss Proof and Matte Finish. They came out with 4 new shades and I believe this is a new formula, so it's supposed to be more of a water lip stain, but it's a little bit on the creamier side. I got the shade Nude Water, which is described as being a rosy brown. I was very excited about this because when it comes to lip stains, getting a more nude pinky brown shade is almost impossible. Now this one is nice, but I do think that it's a little bit more on the deep rose side versus being a like pinky brown, like a rosy brown, you know. I think this is more of a berry tone once it actually gets on the lips, and you can see how watery that is. It's very nice how thin these are because again, they are a water stain, but they have a little bit more thickness to them than your average water stain like the Benefit Benetint, you know, but they do blend out. I have found though, because I have tried this out a couple of times since I got it, I do think that you kind of have to go in with a thicker layer and then go in and blend it separately. So let me show you guys. It's nice, but it's not my favorite so far when it comes to water stains. The brush is a little hard to work with, so I do use the entire length of the brush to just get it on the lips. And you can see that it's definitely more on the rosy side of things than like a nude brown. And I just go like that and spread it. It's just such a nice subtle flush of color. If that's what you're looking for when it comes to a stain, you may want to check these out. My favorite currently is the Ulta Weightless Water Stain. I think those are so nice. They honestly feel like water, but they give you a very beautiful wash of color. These do give you kind of that funny feeling on the lips. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know how sometimes lip products, I don't know what ingredient it is. I need to look more into this. But once it starts to dry, it almost feels like you have a very thin layer of product that kind of numbs your lips. Does anyone else ever have that feeling? Please let me know in the comments down below if you know what I'm talking about. But this has that. Now, I don't think it's like an allergic reaction or anything like that. I've never had an issue with lip products that do that. It's just a sensation that I've noticed. I usually use this type of product to lay down a foundation or a base, and then I'll go over it with a lip liner and then any like colored lip product on top. I'm not super crazy about it just yet, but I can see myself liking it even more as time goes on. It does have that same clearance lip oil scent, which I'm not crazy about, but because this dries down, it doesn't linger the same way that the lip oil scent lingers. So I can live with this one. All right, so I have that lip stain on, and I'm just gonna put on the NYX Verified Slick Click so you guys can see what I mean about layering it. It's just a good base, you know? Okay guys, that was our entire shop with me at Sephora and Ulta. I hope that you guys enjoyed this format. I know it is a little bit different, like I said. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked this little talk through where I shared more information with you guys and like demoed the things that I did pick up. But I'm pretty happy with all of the things I got. I'm happy that I was a little bit more strict about the things that I picked up, even though I was very, very tempted by a lot of them. I think a lot of them I have to think about for a little bit longer to see if it's actually something that I want to add to my collection and if it's worth getting full price, you know what I mean? If there's anything in this video that I talked about that you really, really, really need to see a review on from me, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to consider purchasing those products for you guys. But other than that, I think that a lot of these things can wait for the sale, to be honest. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will leave a video right here for you, another shop with me, in case you're interested in seeing it. But until next time, you guys, take care. Bye.